Alright, here's part two. Sorry about that. Yeah, so leap it's okay. Yeah, the passive trees around this brawl section. You have swiftness, which is just pretty good movement speed bonus, which is not bad at all. The big one I would recommend if you had the points. Aggressive resistance is not bad as well. Every time you're berserking, you get more damage reduction. It's cool. Where is it? Quick impulses. This one is actually one I probably put all my points into. When I get the chance, just because it just helps crowd control so much, right? If you're not unstoppable, you're getting crowd controlled. If you're crowd controlled, you're screwed, pretty much. So that's Brawl. Overall, I think it's... Oh no, I'm sorry, I forgot about the big one. Where are you? Where are you? Here we go. Yeah. We've got Warcry. This is a big boy damage bonus, and you get more damage because Berserk. Like, this is just big damage. And then your other passives, sorry about this. Yeah, Great Leader, which is just healing for you and your party. Booming Voice gives you more duration in your shouts. Guttural makes anything you shout do less damage. Right, so. Now your next category. Where is it? Here we go. So there's Thick Skin, which is just gain damage, again 4 to 5 every time you get hit. Steel Grasp is an active that basically think like scorpions, like chain or spear from Mortal Kombat. It pulls them in. Procs Vulnerable, Procs Berserk has 2 charges every 10-second cooldown, so it's pretty active. Pulls 3 enemies. It's pretty nice. Pretty healthy damage buff, considering Procs Vulnerable and Berserk. So, Rupture is a cool one. I haven't tried it yet just because, again, I haven't really gotten to a bleed build just yet, but the idea is you stab something, you stab like a line or whatever, and if whatever's bleeding in that line, you pretty much stop the bleed, but it damages, like, pops it for damage. So you're trading the actual bleed for just a damage with the pulling the blood out, pretty much. So that's a heal. More damage. Attack speed. So I could see that like an attack speed build. That'd be kind of fun, right? You know, pump up your attack speed. This is, to me, is the showstopper. This next one. Where are you? I'm actually going to put this up. Here we go, Death Blow. So this essentially is you do massive damage in one hit, and if it kills, it resets the cooldown. So you can pretty much mash your way through with Death Blow. The enhanced, just crazy more damage against bosses, and then the other one I have is more Berserk. So pretty much my shout, my Death Blow, and my Steel Grasp are all proccing Berserk, so I can time it so I can have up to like 8 seconds, 9 seconds of Berserk. Pretty nice. The reason why I go for this setup where I have Lunging Strike with Hammer of the Ancients right now, just because I have the Legendary aspect for it. I might swap back to Rend, honestly. Warcry, Steel Grasp, Death Blow, so it's 5, and Iron Skin, is because for me, this provides the most utility. You know, pretty chunky damage bonuses with 3 things proccing Berserk. The Warcry just does pretty good damage on its, or damage buff on its own. Death Blow does crazy high damage. Steel Grasp, crowd control brings everything to me, so I don't have to run chase it down. And Legendary Strike and Steel Grasp are like the cornerstones because they both close the gap and bring the enemies to me. And then Hammer just smash everything down. It's pretty nice. The skills I can recommend for blind players are definitely Lunging Strike and Rend. Those are like the core and basic. For defense, considering I'd probably put Thick Skin or Iron Skin just because of the cooldown is pretty quick, so it's always available to use. The damage reduction passives are always pretty nice, of course. Challenging Shout is one that would be pretty good as well. I just haven't really gotten around to actually trying it and using it. Your Brawl, I don't really think anything in Brawl is that helpful to a blind person, especially when it comes to like Kick, knocking back people away from you. That's not what you want. Leap can't really be properly utilized on a controller entirely, so there's a bit of a handicap there. Excuse me, sorry. Charge, it could be okay. I just don't know if I was using it right because I can't see the formation to better orientate so it hits multiple things. And Warcry is probably the best brawl skill for a blind person because it doesn't take it. It's just a shout. Boom, get more damage. Passives, I'd say just beef up your shouts as best you can. The healing, the duration, whatever. I don't think the damage reduction against elites or whatever, I don't think that's really viable for shout. Just because you already get that with earlier skills, so I don't see it really being necessary. And then your weapon mastery. Honestly, any of those 3 skills could work. It just greatly depends on which one you want. I prefer Steel Grasp or Death Blow, but maybe you're doing a bleed build and you do Steel Grasp and you rupture everything, right? That's with all the bleeds and stuff. I don't know. It's up to you. I know other blind people are trying the Death Blow setups and it's working for them, so I'll take your word for it. As far as like passives go, now, unless you're doing a bleed build, you don't need to really worry about what's it called? Good Runes? I need to go see if I can find it real quick. Gushing Wounds is the one that is the one that is not the most vital thing. What is this? Fury. Right, Unbundled Rage. This one actually is really good. It's just a matter of you're spending so much resource that it's almost unviable early game, but late game it's great. But right now I'm just more comfortable with other stuff because of the way the aspects I've gotten. And the powers I've gotten, it's better to utilize other stuff that's not so expensive. This one is definitely a contender, in my opinion, as far as a key passive. Walking Arsenal. This one's actually pretty good because it's just a flat 10% bonus no matter whatever weapon you use a skill with. So say like dual wield on lunging, slashing on, or yeah, bludgeoning on hammer, and then slashing you apply to your Deathfall. And there you're getting all the bonuses at all times because you're always using those buttons. So it's just a pretty hefty damage increase. Not as hefty as, what's it called? Rage, but, you know, it's something, right? It's helpful. And the last thing is Unconstrained. This is Berserk. It's not a bad passive, but I just don't think Berserk's like that strong to necessitate taking the passive that could be Walking Arsenal or the Unbridled Rage or whatever. It's just I don't know if it's entirely viable. I forgot to mention Ultimates. Ultimates, honestly, as far as I have seen, Iron Maelstrom is the only one that's really being used. Well, I mean, technically Wrath of Berserker as well. But I know that Call of the Ancients is the one that people recommend for leveling. The other two, not so much. The other two can be used a bit later. All 3 can be used, but it just depends on if you want to go for it or not. For me, I have enough skills, enough stuff. I don't really care for an ultimate right now. Eventually I might swap it, but right now, like I said, it's Lunging Strike to close gaps, help heal myself a bit, you know, get some Berserk on the board somehow with crit damage. And then Hammer, because I got the legendary aspect for it, so it just quakes out. And it's pretty chunky single target, plus a little bit of AoE. Not as much AoE as I'd like, but it's something. And then defense is pretty much just 2 points into passives and thick skin, iron skin. Challenging Shout, it would be a good one, so is Rallying Cry. They're both pretty good. It's just I don't really want to run them right now. Ground Stomp, again, could be good depending on your gear and cooldowns, and if you have any legendary powers that make Ground Stomp crazy, cool. Brawl, I think, is the least... I'm so sorry. Brawl, I think, is the least useful for a blind player because Kick just seems kind of awkward. Leap, again, can't be really used on control or that easily or that well. And then Charge, I honestly feel like Charge is bugged. And Warcry is very simple to use. Big boy damage buff. Cool. Simple as that. Like I recommend also increase your shot durations and your healing. This way you're constantly healing you and your party, so everyone's going to appreciate the fact that you're keeping them alive. Your mastery, again, it's kind of up to you. I definitely recommend Steel Grasp, at least Steel Grasp for the mastery skill, because this will help you group enemies together and not have to worry about chasing them down again. And it procs vulnerable plus berserk, so it's just helpful chunky damage from all sources, if not only one or two. And then ultimates, like I said, I think Iron Maelstrom, I think all three are viable. It just depends on what you want to do. Like I said, for me, I don't really care. I know Iron Maelstrom, the whole idea of like swapping between weapons for a build and stuff like that sounds pretty cool, and you can get the cooldown reduced very well because of Iron Maelstrom. There's a bonus where whenever you swap and you hit something, it takes one cooldown, or it takes one not cooldown, it takes 1 second off the clock. I believe that is everything for all the actual skills. There's a bunch of passives like increase crit strike damage against stunned and things like that. So those ones are up to your own discretion. I definitely recommend the, at the very least, for passives, I'd recommend the max life percent plus the damage reduction against elites and the crowd control. Those are like the three passives I can think of that are really stand out. If you guys have enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe, as it really helps the channel algorithm immensely. I will be back Friday night. I'll probably stream Street Fighter 6. And then Diablo later on the night. We'll see. So thanks again for watching, and hope to see you guys in streams.